So I just came from watching Wolf King. It's a new series on Netflix, an animated epic fantasy adventure series. 8 episodes, about 24 to 32 minutes, each released on March 20th, 2025 on Netflix. The story follows Drew Ferren. Drew Ferren discovers that he is like a werewolf during a hunter's moon, which is like a pretty big moon. It looks very unique. He starts changing, and you can tell from the accents of the voice actors that this is set in like medieval UK type era. And the story is very, if you're a fan of like The Witcher, Game of Thrones, you're a fan of those types of shows, you'll definitely like this one. My first issue with this show is that the inciting incident, the way it plays out is kind of dumb.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
When Drew turns into a werewolf, there is another type of were animal that is also in the room with him, and that were animal kills a certain character and then it disappears, and then Drew is left there, and people walk in and they're like, oh my god, Drew, you killed so and so, which I found to be kind of dumb, because the people saying, oh Drew, you killed so and so, they know Drew on a personal level, so they turn on him so quickly, and it irritated me. I was like, damn, if people who knew me found me in a crime scene, they wouldn't just be like, oh my god, you've killed so and so. So I found that to be kind of dumb. But other than that, the characters are pretty likable. The animation looks sort of like stop motion animation. I'm not very good at telling the types of animation, but at first watch, it kind of reminded me of Wallace and Gromit. Yeah, so Wallace and Gromit is a stop motion type animation. This one also looks stop motion animation type. But if I'm wrong, comment below and tell me what type of animation it is. The animation looks pretty good. There's some really nice visuals. I mean, look at this one over here. There's some really nice visuals in this show. Also, there's a lot of like horror type elements in this show. I went into this show blind. I saw it on the trending page of my Netflix and I was like, let me give it a shot. Very surprised just the level of like horror type elements that is in this show, especially episode 4. Very much just like The Witcher. It's very spooky, very dark tone. These beasts are just horror level. So part of the story is that, well, our main character here, he's like this last remaining child of a lineage of wolves. The original rulers of the land where they are were the wolves, and then they got overthrown by the lions. Very Game of Thrones type, like it's very like, the Starks got overthrown by the Lannisters type vibe. There's this character called Lady Gretchen. She kind of reminds me of like Sansa and Arya Stark, because she's supposed to be married off to some annoying prince who's kind of like Joffrey. It's a very Game of Thrones type thing. The main character also comes off like this Daenerys Targaryen, Jon Snow type character. And also there's a mention of 7 realms, that this story is taking place in 7 realms. So like I said, very Game of Thrones type show with a lot of like The Witcher type storytelling and also beasts. So if you like those types of shows, you will probably enjoy this one. Let's talk about certain moments in the show that I just didn't like, because I didn't like certain moments in the show because they try to progress the plot, but by these events happening, they're sort of defying logic. For example, in episode 2, our main character gets put in a certain room where he's not supposed to escape, and then it's like this very tall tree is inside of, and there's a huge window at the top. I'm like, why doesn't the window have bars on it? It's just this hole, and he's able to like climb out of it. And then later on, this one character sees that another character has been scratched, and this one character says, oh, you're scratched. The only way you could have gotten that scratch is if a wolf scratched you. And I'm like, come on, bro. That type of scratch could be anything. He could have scratched himself somewhere, or a fork or something. So my point is that there are certain scenes that are used to progress the plot, but the way they are used to progress the plot, it sort of like messes up logic. The logic would naturally flow in the show. Unfortunately, I also found that there are just too many characters in this show. Way too many characters in this show. By the time episode 3 is reaching, you're reaching episode 3, there are so many characters, and then each episode is about 30 to 40 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes. So unfortunately, not every episode can flesh out each character well. For example, in episode 3, there's this one guy who dies, and I barely got to know the guy. So when he died, I didn't even care. Other than that, the show is pretty interesting. Despite these writing flaws, it looks good and it's entertaining. It's one of the more decent things to watch on Netflix. Out of 10, I'd give it a 6.5 out of 10. I'd give it a 6.5 out of 10. I wanted to give it a 7, but so many writing errors, in my opinion. But it looks very pretty and it's quite entertaining. It's one of the more decent things to watch on Netflix right now. If you've enjoyed this review, make sure to smash like and subscribe. Tell me what you thought of The Wolf King on Netflix. Check out these other reviews I've done for Netflix shows. This series is very much like Game of Thrones. It's like anime. It's like Game of Thrones meets Witcher, and then you animate it. Yeah, if you like those types of shows, you'll enjoy this one. It's not anything so new that you haven't seen before, but it's quite entertaining, and it's one of the more decent things on Netflix. I'll see you in the next one.